We're going through lift replacement at our high rise after 25 years. The cost is $200,000, which had not been provided for. We solved our problem using the funds saved for painting, which was due in 2027, plus a $2,000 levy for this year. We'll replace the painting money over the next 5 years at an increased rate to cover those costs. How do we cover the next lift replacement in 2047, 25 years away? So his calculations were 200,000 at 3% CPI per year equals 418,000 they need in 2047. And so he's looking at starting with 8,400 next year and then increasing the contributions up to 27,000 in 2047, which gives them 400,000. So he was just saying discussions around this topic is warranted as there are lots of lifts to be replaced in the years ahead, and how are other buildings managing this type of maintenance?
It's a great question. Unfortunately for Ross, it sounds like in the previous plan or previous forecasting, unfortunately they failed to include this lift originally, which has sort of put them significantly on the back foot this time, and they've had to use a large portion of funds that they had saved for painting that I think you said was coming up in 2027 or quite soon. And therefore now they've got to recuperate that plus allow for the lift on a 25-year cycle. Unfortunately, Ross, a lot of the lift refurbishment companies are going to say about 15 to 20 years is really what you should be budgeting for your lift as well. So keep that in mind. But the true answer is, unfortunately, you've had it good up to now in terms of levies because not everything was properly included.
Yeah. There's no such thing as low body corporate fees or bonus corporation fees. And you're lucky we're not in America, because in America's system, they use a line item system. Yeah. So you put away X amount of money for the painting, you can't use the money for painting to fix the lift.
You can't touch it.
I had a situation in Colorado where the heating system, so obviously Northern Hemisphere cold, Southern Hemisphere we get hot. So we're more worried about our air conditioning units.
Yeah.
The heating unit blew unexpectedly, and they didn't have the money there for it. They had $10,000 for a brush wire fence and something else, but they couldn't take that money. They had to go and borrow money from the bank to fix the heating system, because you have to use the funds. It's allocated to line items. So in that regard, Ross is lucky that they could pull that money across.
In terms of the future expenses, 27,000 seems high just looking at it off that. And keep in mind that the funding for this sort of thing is not necessarily exponential, as in it's going to increase in an exponential fashion. What I would suggest is go back to the plan you've got and consult someone, whether it be us or whoever you use for your forecasting, Ross, and get them to have a look at it. Let's plot out all the maintenance, include this lift, and in that year 2047, there might be other items we can move around to either do sooner or later to sort of plateau your levies, because 27,000, geez, that's a high levy, and you wouldn't really want to have to hit owners with that.
But it sounds like he's definitely on the right track thinking forward, which is great as well.
Yes.
Just on the subject, I know with our order forms, we have a box to tick to include the lift, yes or no. And that's because some lift contractors come in and they do a deal where they maintain the lift for 25 years or whatever the life of the lift, and they replace the lift, and you're paying for it as you go. When that's not included, which must have been the case here, you need to tick the lift, and the inspector should have asked actually to say is the lift included, because it's such a significant cost. But who knows, maybe another committee member at the time had said don't include the lift. We don't want to pay for that at the moment. We've had instances, and we can't say where people have said, look, you've done the report, but can you not add anything past 10 years, because we want to sell in year 8 or 9 and we don't want to pay for it.
Those are the guys that will get the subpoena while they're sitting on the beach drinking pina coladas because the building's not maintained.
Down in Torquay,